Welcome to the Safe Container Visualization, a powerful and practical technique that comes from trauma therapy but is incredibly useful for anyone dealing with anxiety, overwhelming emotions, or intrusive worries. This practice helps you mentally and emotionally store difficult feelings, memories, or concerns when you need to function in the world, but don't have the time, space, or capacity to fully process them in the moment. Think of it as creating a secure psychological storage system. Nothing is suppressed, denied, or pushed away permanently, but it's consciously and carefully put aside in a safe place until you can properly attend to it with the resources and support you need. Find a comfortable position, either sitting in a chair with your feet planted on the floor and your back supported, or lying down on your back if that's more comfortable. Rest your hands in your lap or by your sides. Close your eyes when you're ready, or keep them open with a soft, unfocused gaze. Take several slow, grounding breaths to settle yourself and transition into this practice. Let me first explain the challenge this technique addresses so you understand why it's so valuable and when to use it. The reality of life is that difficult feelings, painful memories, and anxious worries can arise at the most inconvenient times. You might be in the middle of an important work presentation when suddenly a wave of anxiety about your relationship hits you. You might be caring for your children, needing to be present and attentive when a traumatic memory surfaces. You might be in a social situation where you need to function and engage when overwhelming grief or fear threatens to take over. You might be driving, cooking, in a meeting, or doing any number of activities that require your attention and focus. In these moments, you face a dilemma. You can't always drop everything to fully process your emotions. You can't excuse yourself from a meeting to have a breakdown. You can't pull your car over on the highway to work through a traumatic memory. But trying to simply suppress, ignore, or push away difficult feelings rarely works well. In fact, it often backfires spectacularly. The more you try to suppress something, the more insistently it pushes back into your awareness. You end up in an exhausting internal battle, using precious energy to fight yourself, while the emotion grows stronger and more intrusive. This is where the safe container technique offers an elegant, compassionate alternative. With the safe container, you're not suppressing or denying. Instead, you're making a conscious, deliberate choice to acknowledge what you're feeling, validate that it's real and important, and then actively set it aside temporarily in a secure place, knowing with complete confidence that you can and will return to it later when you have proper time, space, privacy, and perhaps support to work with it thoroughly. You're managing the timing of emotional processing, not avoiding it. You're choosing when to engage rather than being ambushed and overwhelmed at inconvenient moments. Now, we're going to create your safe container. Begin by using your imagination to visualize or sense a container of some kind. Any type of container that feels genuinely secure, safe, and sturdy to you. This is your container, created by your imagination for your specific needs, so it can be absolutely anything that feels right and appropriate for you. There's no right or wrong choice here. Some people immediately imagine a traditional locked treasure chest made of strong, thick wood, reinforced with metal bands and a heavy lock. Others visualize a modern safe or bank vault with thick steel walls, a combination lock, and perhaps even a time lock mechanism. Some picture a beautiful carved wooden box with intricate designs and a secure latch. Others imagine something more creative or fantastical, perhaps a magical chest that only responds to your touch, a container made of unbreakable crystal that you can see into but no one else can, a specially designed space that exists in a different dimension, or even a sacred container guarded by protective spiritual beings or animals that you trust. What absolutely matters is that this container feels completely, totally secure to you. Nothing can escape from it unless you deliberately choose to open it and remove something. Nothing from outside can get in to contaminate or disturb what you've stored inside. It's impenetrable, reliable, trustworthy. Take your time creating this container in your mind's eye. What does it look like? Really see it. What is it made of? Wood, metal, stone, crystal, light, something else? What size is it? Is it small and compact or large enough to hold many things? What color is it? What specific details does it have? decorations, locks, handles, latches. The more clearly and specifically you can visualize or sense your container, the more effective it will be. This is your psychological safe container, and you're crafting it with care. Once you've created your container clearly, now decide where this container will be kept. Location matters for your sense of security. Where is it safest? Where do you need to imagine it residing so that you feel absolutely confident it's protected? Some people imagine it sitting in a locked room inside an imaginary house that only they have access to. Others place it in a literal bank vault, deep underground in layers of security. Some bury it deep in the earth where no one can find it. Others place it on a high shelf in a locked closet. Some put it in a sacred temple or church guarded by benevolent beings. Some imagine it in a location from nature that feels safe, a cave in a mountain, a clearing in a forest protected by ancient trees. Where does your container need to be kept for you to feel completely confident that it's secure and undisturbed? Choose that location now and clearly place your container there in your imagination. Excellent. You've now created your safe container and placed it in its secure location. Now we're going to practice actually using it, because creating it is only half the skill. You need to learn how to put things into it and take them out when appropriate. Bring to mind something you're currently feeling anxious or worried about. Don't choose your absolute most overwhelming trigger or your deepest trauma. Start with something that creates moderate, noticeable discomfort, but isn't completely overwhelming. Maybe it's an upcoming difficult conversation you need to have with someone. Maybe it's uncertainty about a decision you're facing. Maybe it's worry about something you can't control. Maybe it's a mildly painful memory that's been surfacing recently. Choose something specific. Let yourself actually feel the emotion or anxiety associated with this concern. Where do you feel it in your body? Maybe it's tension in your chest, a knot in your stomach, tightness in your throat. Notice it, acknowledge it, feel it without trying to change it or make it go away yet. Just be with it for a moment. Now, this is the creative part. Imagine that you could represent this feeling or worry as a physical object. If this anxiety or concern were an object, what would it look like? What form would it take? Let your imagination show you without forcing anything. Maybe it appears as a dark, heavy stone weighing you down. Maybe it's a tangled ball of yarn that's all knotted and confused. Maybe it's a sharp-edged object with uncomfortable points and edges. Maybe it's a written letter or document describing your worry in words. Maybe it's a photograph of the situation. Maybe it's something more abstract, a dark cloud, a ball of light, a shape without a name. Trust whatever form appears to you. This is your psyche's way of making the intangible tangible so you can work with it. Now comes the key action. You're going to consciously, deliberately, ceremonially place this object into your safe container. In your imagination, see yourself walking to the location where your container is kept. Maybe you have to go to a certain room or travel to a certain place. Walk there now in your mind. Arrive at your container. Now open it. Maybe you need to unlock it with a key, enter a combination, press your hand against it in a certain way, or it simply opens to your intention. However it opens for you, open it now. Look inside. Maybe it's empty because this is the first time you're using it. Maybe there are other things already stored there from previous times. Either way, now take that object representing your current worry or anxiety and deliberately place it inside the container. As you do this physical action in your imagination, say to yourself clearly and firmly, I acknowledge this worry, I see it, I'm not ignoring it, denying it, or pretending it doesn't exist. I'm setting it aside safely for now because I need to focus on other things. I will come back to it when I have proper time and space to deal with it fully. Right now, I need to focus on whatever you actually need to focus on. Work, family, this meditation, daily life. Place the object fully inside, see it resting there, contained. Then close your container securely. Lock it again. See it sealed completely. Know with absolute certainty that this worry is now contained. It cannot escape and overwhelm you unexpectedly or at inconvenient times. It's there, safely stored, patiently waiting for when you consciously choose to retrieve it and work with it. But it's not gone forever, and it's not suppressed. It's temporarily set aside in a secure place. Take a slow, deep breath. Now notice how you feel. Very often, there's an immediate sense of relief, of space opening up, of being able to breathe more freely. The worry hasn't disappeared from existence, but it's not actively dominating your consciousness and nervous system in this moment. You have room to function, to think, to focus on what you actually need to be doing. You can put multiple different worries or difficult feelings into your container. It can hold many things. Let's practice with one more item right now to build the skill. Bring to mind another source of anxiety, another difficult feeling, another worry. Something different from the first one. Feel where it lives in your body. Give it a form or shape in your imagination. What object represents this concern? Now walk again to your container. Open it. Place this new object inside along with the first one you stored. As you do, say, "I see you. You're important and valid. I will definitely attend to you and process you properly. But for now, you're stored safely here." Close and lock the container again. Feel the relief of having both concerns contained rather than swirling chaotically in your mind. This is how you use the safe container in your daily life going forward. When a worry, difficult emotion, traumatic memory, or overwhelming feeling arises at an inconvenient time, and you'll know it's inconvenient because you're in the middle of something that requires your attention, you pause very briefly. You take just 10 or 15 seconds. You acknowledge the feeling directly. I notice I'm feeling anxious about the doctor's appointment, or I notice a painful memory from childhood is surfacing, or I'm feeling overwhelmed about my financial situation. You validate it briefly. This is understandable. This is real. This matters. Then you quickly visualize your safe container. See yourself placing that concern inside and lock it away. I'm going to put this aside safely for now and come back to it this evening during my designated processing time at 8 p.m. Then you take a breath and refocus your attention on what you're actually doing in the present moment, the task at hand, the person you're with, the activity you're engaged in. This is absolutely crucial to understand. The safe container is not intended for permanent storage. It's not a way to avoid dealing with difficult things forever. You must, and I cannot emphasize this strongly enough, you must regularly schedule time to open your container and properly process what's inside. Otherwise, your container fills up completely and stops being effective. The contents start overflowing, new things don't fit. The technique breaks down. So, you need to schedule regular processing time. This might be daily or several times per week or weekly, depending on how much emotional material you're dealing with and how full your container gets. During this scheduled processing time, which should be when you have privacy, space, emotional capacity, and perhaps support from a therapist, friend, or partner, you deliberately open your container. You take items out one at a time. You look at each one. You acknowledge it fully. You allow yourself to feel the emotions completely in this safe context. You process each concern using whatever tools work for you, journaling, talking to someone, practicing other anxiety management techniques, problem solving if the issue is actionable, or simply allowing yourself to feel and release emotions that have been waiting to be felt. After you've processed an item, you don't put it back in the container. It's been dealt with, it's been felt, seen, processed, it can be released. The container empties as you work through its contents. This keeps it functional and available for new concerns that arise. The reason the safe container technique is so valuable and works so well is that it gives you real control and agency in your relationship with difficult emotions. Instead of feeling ambushed by anxiety randomly throughout your day with no warning or choice, you're choosing when and how to engage with your emotional material. You're not suppressing anything. Suppression happens when you pretend something doesn't exist or push it away with force. This is different. This is conscious, compassionate time management of emotional processing. You're saying, yes, this is real and important, and I'm choosing to deal with it at a time when I can give it proper attention, not in the middle of a work meeting or while driving on the highway. This shift from being at the mercy of emotions to having some agency in, when you process them, significantly reduces the sense of being overwhelmed and helps you function effectively, even when difficult things are happening in your life. Make a commitment to practice using your safe container this week. When worries or difficult feelings interrupt you at inconvenient times, take a few seconds to visualize placing them in your container. Set a specific, regular time for opening the container and processing what's inside. Notice how this practice affects your sense of control and your ability to function. Take 3 final deep breaths now. With each breath, feel gratitude for having this tool, this secure place for difficult emotions. Know that your safe container is always available, always accessible, always there whenever you need. To temporarily set something aside while still fully honoring that it's real and will be addressed. Slowly open your eyes when you're ready. Your safe container exists in your imagination, which means it's always with you, portable, available instantly whenever you need it. If this meditation helped you find calm, you'll love the complete Pack 3 collection. 10 powerful guided meditations designed to help you work with anxiety in transformative ways. From the safe container technique to butterfly hug, self-soothing and compassionate self-talk practices, you'll have proven tools to regulate your nervous system anytime you need them. Click the link in the description to download Pack 3 or grab the complete 30 meditation collection and have every tool you need for lasting anxiety relief.